Welcome to the Siljander Podcast, where you will find actionable tips, tricks, and strategies for the millennials. In this show, we will dive into content that will teach you how to live with more ease, confidence, and authenticity. Here we will start with a foundation of compassion for ourselves, and then spread that compassion to others. We believe that this chain of acceptance and fortitude can radically change our families, communities, and beyond. And I am your host, Laura Siljander, yoga teacher, mental health coach, outdoor enthusiast, and lover of red wine. So grab your headphones and get ready to learn, grow, and to be inspired to live a life filled with intention and wellness. If you like the show, follow me on Instagram at practice_compassion, or check out my website, laurasiljander.com. I am so glad you are here, and I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back. Unless this is your first time joining me on the Siljander Podcast. Hello, I am Laura. Thank you for joining. This is going to be an awesome episode. But first, I need to share with you something that I am just loving these days. And that is my robe. Yes, you heard it right. My robe. R-O-B-E, if you don't understand me correctly. I just think that this is an item that just screams self-care. And with the busy lives that we live and all of the things that we're juggling between work, class, hobbies, friends, drinking wine, if you have kids, where do you even begin? This is a great thing to have on hand. A nice, soft robe. I actually used it as a verb today and told my wife that I was robing. I think sometimes when you wear your robe, it signifies comfort, softness, nurturing, and who doesn't want that stuff? So it's something small that you can do for yourself, maybe at the beginning of the day and putting your robe on, or sometimes when you're off work, the first thing you want to do is get your clothes off, and you can throw that robe on, signifying the workday is over. But I just wanted to share that little life hack with you because it's really affecting me in a positive way, so I'm going to share that with you. So today, I want to talk to you about failing. Yes, I like to talk to you about things that are not that great, don't I? So let's start from the top. One of the most amazing experiences that I get to experience, and other people too, is watching one of your nephews, nieces, kids, maybe your friends' kids, is to learn how to walk. And if you think about it, they fall at first more than they walk. The cool thing is these kids, these tiny little humans, fall and get right back up. They don't feel shame. They don't feel embarrassed. They just simply try again. Can you think of the last time you didn't achieve something that you wanted to achieve? Or when you, God forbid, failed? Even in a small way or in an epic way, we feel embarrassed and shame. We tell ourselves that no one needs to know about this, and we'll tuck that shame away. Or if we have to tell someone about it, we can barely look them in the eye. But if you think about it, if we haven't failed, are our dreams big enough? If we haven't failed, have we tried anything new lately? If we haven't failed, have we put ourselves out there? If we haven't failed, are we really living? And isn't one of those things in life as humans living in the free world that we have is to try new things? And sometimes, and for some of us, many times, we may fail or fall short of what we wanted, but we tried. And I hope we keep trying, even if that means we may fail again. If we never fail, if we always achieved what we wanted, would we value things as much? Remember, as a kid, your parent or guardian would say, if I just gave you your allowance without you working for it, you wouldn't appreciate it and you would think money grows on trees. Remember that? Some of us maybe weren't privileged enough to get an allowance, and I realize that. But for some of us, our parents would say we need to work for what we want. As humans, we are wired to appreciate what we work hard at. And when we work hard towards something, we are in jeopardy of failing. We're also in jeopardy of achieving something great. But it is up to us if we're going to take that leap or not. Something that can occur when we fail is to view it as, I am a failure. And then it's a downward spiral from there. Instead, can we reframe it to, I am not a failure, but I did not achieve the outcome I wanted. I'm not saying that failing doesn't hurt and that it doesn't suck, because it does. But when we now label ourselves as a failure, we're just adding another category that we need to abide by. And that breaks us down. It doesn't make us want to try again. It doesn't feel good. Now, like I said, failure doesn't feel good, but you're making it worse by embodying that label. I am a failure. So what separates people are, after failing, some people will identify themselves as a failure, like we were just talking about, and they may become fearful of trying new things again. Others who fail think about, what did I learn? What can I gain from this? Was this failure a speed bump that slows you down, or was this failure something that forces you to stop? Does your failure make you trust in something greater than yourself? Even if you live in the safest way that you can, you will eventually come face to face with failure, and it is your choice of how you want to handle it. I remember after I graduated with my master's degree, I call my 29th year of living my year to fail. I failed so many times that year. I failed at friendships, at finding employment that I wanted. I just felt like I was failing left and right. And I started to adopt that feeling of, I'm a failure, and this is what life is now after I'm out of school. I'm just not going to be able to achieve the dreams that I want. And it wasn't until I reframed my thought of failure, it wasn't until I surrendered my outcomes to something bigger than me and started to let go and keep trying, that I thought, wow, maybe I'm not a failure, because I learned so much. I learned how to fail and to tell people about it and to not feel shame. And if I'm honest with myself, my failures have brought me to here. Owning my own business, I wouldn't be probably talking to you with a podcast. I would be working a job that I wasn't really passionate about. So failing actually saved me. At the time, it didn't feel that way. At the time, it was horrible. I felt lousy. I felt like a loser. But looking back, it made sense. I like to give my yoga students a safe place to fail. And I think this is something that you could try as well. So if you are a yoga practitioner, then this is going to be really helpful. If you're not, then you can just think about doing this maybe on your own or take up yoga. I think the world would change. Anyway, so a way that I like to bring up failure in the yoga class is with balancing postures. And this is when you balance on one foot or when you shift your body weight in a way that you have to learn how to balance. And if you're a new yoga practitioner, a lot of them will fall and they'll just look embarrassed. And something that I like to encourage in my classes is to fall. I have fallen hundreds of times before I was able to nail certain asanas or postures. And I would feel that same shame, especially as a yoga teacher. If I'm demonstrating a posture and I fall out of it, I'm supposed to be the teacher. I should know how to do this. But I'm also demonstrating that I fall as well. I'm failing as well, if you want to look at it that way. I'm not achieving the goal that I want, which is to balance. And so I encourage falling. Or if you're a more experienced yoga teacher or an experienced yoga practitioner, sometimes I'll encourage them to close their eyes during a balance and to bring back that beginner's mindset. And you will most likely fall. And that's good. You're not achieving the goal you want. You're learning how to fail, but in a safe way. And it's not the act of falling or letting yourself fall, but how you feel about it after. What did you learn on the way down? Okay, I remembered what it felt like to be a beginner. Or maybe I didn't engage my leg enough. Maybe I needed to keep my core tighter. What did you learn after? Did you kind of nervously look around and make sure no one noticed you falling? I think the act of falling out of postures over and over starts to expose you over and over, and then hopefully you're not as embarrassed anymore. So that's a really great, safe way to practice failure. Allowing yourself to fall and then processing it afterward. Did I feel shame? Do I feel embarrassed? What did I learn? How can I grow from this? If you are epically failing at something right now or have done that in the past, I invite you to take yourself out of it and observe what you've learned and how you've grown and where it could lead you eventually. To not adopt that feeling of failure as you are the failure, but to reframe it. I also invite you to fail like a little kid who has fallen over and over again. We all have learned to walk. We fell so many times before we were able to walk, and now look at us. We take walking for granted. The same thing can be applied in your failures, your shortcomings that you didn't achieve the goal that you wanted. And if you haven't failed in a while, then you're just perfect. Or maybe you're not pushing yourself hard enough. I think failure is a part of life. It shouldn't be embarrassing. It shouldn't be shameful. We all have done it. We all do it. It's like pooping. Oh, did I just bring up pooping in a podcast? All right, y'all. That's all I have for you this week. I hope it was a helpful topic, and I hope you practice compassion with yourself and in your thoughts, speech, and actions, and then carry that compassion around with you and spread it to others. Oops, one more thing before we go. If you could please leave me a review on whatever platform you are listening to this on, whether that be iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher, I would so appreciate that. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next week.